but ordinary people who've simply stopped thinking?
Well, it is. I even have people so stupid in my life that they're accusing me of things that I didn't fucking do, right? Because they're that fucking stupid. The thing about evil persons is at least you can talk to them because they know what they're doing is wrong. A stupid person won't even get if you reason with them. But it's like, I don't know. Like, you know someone's stupid if they say, I can't tell you why you're wrong, but I still disagree. If you can't apply logic to why you think the way you think, you're a fucking... Any stand that you have that you can't defend, you should. And that's how I think.
For this, a renowned scientist with multiple degrees suddenly starts believing and spreading dangerous misinformation.
Yep.
A compassionate teacher begins endorsing harmful ideologies.
Yep.
A loving parent starts making decisions that endanger their own children. These aren't evil people.
The right
They're
heroes could
intelligent,
make
well-meaning
all the
individuals
difference.
who've fallen victim to what Dietrich Bonhoeffer called the power of stupidity. And here's what makes this truly terrifying. It's not happening to other people. It's happening to people just like you and me. This isn't just philosophical speculation. In 19...
If you
You
guys
don't
were to
have
rate
to
my
be a
intelligence
witch to
on a
find
scale
the
from 1 to
magic
10,
in this world.
What would you give?
But it does help.
I would say 7. I don't think I'm smart about a lot of things, but I think the things that I do really focus on, I feel like I got that shit pretty locked down, to be completely honest. But general knowledge is pretty rough for me. General knowledge is pretty rough. You guys
I've
street
made
smart?
my
Yeah, I'm
share
not
of
book smart at all. Anyways, I don't
But I am
can't
fighting
really
every day.
He's 61.
in 30
Standing
seconds.
I'm
Stay
black,
strong.
right? Like, I had a rough childhood, man. I couldn't afford a good education.
Pilgrim conducted his infamous obedience experiments at Yale University.
Okay.
Ordinary volunteers were instructed by an authority figure to administer what they believed were increasingly painful electric shocks to another person. Despite hearing screams of agony, 65% of participants delivered shocks they thought could be lethal. These weren't sadists or mentally
Battle
ill.
starts in
They were
5,
normal people who had
4,
temporarily
3,
surrendered their capacity for
2,
independent moral
1.
judgment. This is exactly what
You have to
Bonhoeffer
stop them
witnessed
from securing
firsthand
the
in
mission
nursing
area.
and it led him to develop one of the most unsettling theories about human nature ever conceived. Before we dive deeper, I have to ask, have you ever found yourself believing something simply because everyone around you believed it too?
I've always thought that Michael Jackson.
Chaos control.
It's definitely happened.
Keep that question in mind as we explore what might be one of the most important psychological insights of the modern era.
Who's next?
Dietrich Bonhoeffer wasn't your typical philosopher sitting in an ivory tower pondering abstract ideas. He was a German Lutheran pastor who watched his entire society transform before his eyes. Born in 1906 into an intellectual family, his father was a prominent psychiatrist and neurologist. Bonhoeffer had every reason to believe in the power of education and rational discourse. But as the Nazi Party rose to power, Bonhoeffer witnessed something that shattered his faith in human rationality. He watched as his fellow Germans, educated, religious people, began supporting policies and leaders that contradicted everything they claimed to believe. Manipulated by clever propaganda. These were professors, doctors, clergy members, and intellectuals who were actively participating in their own intellectual surrender. In his prison cell in 1943, who took his role in a plot to assassinate Hitler, Bonhoeffer wrote what would become his most prominent observation. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protests nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Reasons fall on deaf ears. What made this observation so chilling wasn't just its context, but its precision. Evil, he noted, always carries within itself the germ of its own subversion. It creates unease, resistance, eventual breakdown. But stupidity, it believes it's doing good, making it absolutely immune to correction. Perhaps Bonhoeffer
That's what's crazy. The thing about stupid people is they can tell such good lies because they actually think they're telling the truth because they're that stupid.
most prescient insights about how stupidity serves existing power structures. Malicious people
Like, you'll see people crying screaming bloody murder about atrocities
Together to victory!
know they're doing wrong, which creates internal conflict and eventual breakdown. But people's non-functional stupidity believes they're doing good, making them absolutely resistant to correction. This isn't accidental. Those in power don't need to actively suppress information anymore. They just need to create conditions where processing information honestly becomes prohibitively difficult. Bonhoeffer used the word stupidity, he wasn't talking about low IQ or lack of education. He was describing something far more complex, what we might call functional stupidity, or ignorance. In his letters from prison, he explained, "The fact that a stupid person is often stubborn must not blind us to the fact that he is not independent. In conversation with him, one virtually feels that one is dealing not at all with him as a person, but with slogans, catchwords, and the like that have taken possession of him." Here's what made Bonhoeffer's theory so revolutionary. He argued that stupidity often emerges not from individual failings, but from systemic pressures that make thinking independently difficult and complex. The truth is, our economic systems actively incentivize intellectual shortcuts. Social media platforms make billions when users react emotionally rather than faithfully. News outlets get
I am
more
ready
clicks
to
and
put on a
outrage than
show.
news. Politicians win elections with a simple slogan.
Nuance no longer exists in absolute emotion. You have to go with the
Only 60 seconds left.
Here's a great example. Let's talk about criminals. If someone sexually harassed someone,
What?
and then showed them, let's say someone touched a woman on the shoulder, right? The headlines wouldn't say sexual harasser. They would say rapist. That person's a rapist. If you touched a woman inappropriately, that's not sexual harassment. And if you were to clarify, well, actually, they just touched a woman on the shoulder, then it would be called a rape defense, right? That's just how the internet works. It's bad. It really
Touch.
is. Galatians 4:16. It is a great quote. It is a great quote.
Slogans rather than complex policy proposals. When people are working multiple jobs, drowning in debt, and constantly bombarded with information, intellectual surrender becomes a survival strategy.
It does.
But it
You have to stoop down to their level and be as dumb as them, otherwise they will turn you. Intellectual surrender. What a great phrase. I'm going to steal that.
economists call
That's genius.
rational ignorance emerges. It becomes more efficient for individuals to remain uninformed about complex issues than to invest the time and energy required for genuine understanding. But this individual rationality creates collective irrationality, exactly the dynamic Bonhoeffer observed in Nazi Germany. The result isn't just individual choice, it's structural pressure toward intellectual surrender.
This is the exact reason why I had issues with the gotcha community.
You'll
Because
need a top-notch
me
team to win
shit-talking
this one.
The companies,
Don't have
they
to
saw
be a
this blind
witch to
hatred.
find the
When in
magic in
reality,
this world.
I was criticizing
But it
these
does help.
games. That way they would treat their players better, as well as start operating less as scumbag corporations, right? But people just saw, this guy said this game bad. This mean he thinks this game bad. This mean he think I'm stupid. When in reality was, guy cares a lot about the game because he's played it for years and he wants appropriate treatment for players by criticizing the company in order to hopefully have them do some type of middle ground and meet the consumers in the middle to give
I
proper
may be powered
rewards
by
while
chaos,
also players
but
deliver them
don't
proper
have to be
player
a
base,
witch to find the
just
magic
meet in the
in
middle
this
here.
world.
We keep playing
But
your
it
game
does
as long
help.
as you treat us
30
well. You know what I
seconds
mean?
before you
Otherwise we'll
attack.
quit.
Get
Right?
ready.
We don't want to do that, but it's like at eventually at a point I just had to surrender to do anything because that was destroying my fucking career. It was me trying to help the players and keep the companies responsible and accountable was destroying my career and my PR. I'm still getting shit on my archives and against the entire Hoyoverse community because I tried to help them. It's insane how dumb these people
The
are.
battle starts in
And our
5,
brains,
4,
stress,
All the
3,
streamers who bend to
2,
me
1.
and actually give in
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
who
Got it?
intellectually surrender these points are down top streamers. And every single streamer in the top of Gadget category, and the top of All Star Rail, and the top of Zilla Zone Zero are all Hoyoverse fans. That's all they are. And that is the truth.
Shield never
Let's
hurts.
continue.
and overwhelmed are perfectly designed to comply. While economic systems push us toward intellectual shortcuts, our brains are actually wired to comply. Leon Festiger's groundbreaking research on cognitive dissonance in the 1950s showed exactly how this works psychologically. When people encounter information that contradicts their beliefs, their brains fight to reject it. But here's what Bonhoeffer understood that modern psychology has confirmed. This process is amplified when people are stressed, overwhelmed, or economically insecure. Exactly the conditions our current systems create. Bonhoeffer observed that stupidity often emerges in group settings, writing, "It becomes clear that stupidity is not a psychological problem, but a sociological one. He noticed that perfectly rational individuals would abandon their critical thinking abilities when they became part of a larger group or movement. This insight was decades ahead of its time. Solomon Asch's conformity experiments in the 1950s
Fucking hurt!
Let's be real, guys.
I'll patch you up. That's me.
Is acting like you're in the right if you want to chop your child off and
I appreciate you.
fucking hormones down
Relay deployed. It ain't cheap.
because if any
I
of
can
them
feel your
slaves
pain.
know you
You're welcome.
that cultural slavery. Some people's desire to fit in leads them to be intellectual.
This is real firepower! This is real firepower!
demonstrated exactly what Bonhoeffer had witnessed. When surrounded by
I'll patch you up.
Everybody knows a bunch of people walks through or takes out we overcome. But they defended those
the group give an obviously wrong answer, 75% of people will go along with the crowd at least once, even when they know the group is wrong. Imagine how this plays out in the digital age. Social media algorithms create echo chambers that make its transformation easier than ever.
Oh yeah, you're a content creator, and
fucking hurt.
if you say techno-mad, you immediately get a million upvotes. If you're part of the
I'll
wider
patch you up.
demographic and you say Azrael bad,
It's spider time!
don't want you to think it is what you say. This is the thing you want. Say it now.
A 2018 study by MIT researchers found that false information spreads 6 times faster than true information on social platforms.
This is a
Here's the
nice
crucial
It's very obvious to know why that is because a fictitious version of reality will always be more interesting. It will. That's why cartoons are watching.
You guys ready to overthrow a king?
Insight.
Let's do
It's
this.
because
I'll
false
patch you
information often feels more emotionally satisfying than complex truths. When someone shares misinformation that confirms their worldview, they're participating in a system that rewards intellectual shortcuts over careful analysis. The algorithm feeds them more of the same, creating echo chambers that act like intellectual quicksand. Have you ever noticed how your social media feed seems to show you exactly what you want to see? That's not an accident. It's the architecture of chosen ignorance in action. We see this pattern play out repeatedly throughout history. The Salem witch trials weren't conducted by evil people, but by God-fearing community members who genuinely believed they were protecting their neighbors. The Red Scare of the 1950s wasn't driven by patriotic Americans who sincerely thought they were defending democracy. In each case, intelligent, educated people and in critical thinking favored group consensus and emotional certainty. If our brains and systems are rigged against us, how do we fight back? Bonhoeffer believed that breaking free from stupidity required what he called costly grace, the willingness to think independently even when it's painful, unpopular, or dangerous. Now we're not just fighting for the we're fighting millions of years of evolution and billion-dollar algorithms designed to exploit our mental shortcuts. On an individual level, we can cultivate what psychologists call intellectual humility. The recognition that our knowledge is always incomplete and potentially wrong. This means actively seeking out information that contradicts our beliefs,
Vehicle
not to
reached
torture
the
ourselves,
checkpoint. Keep
but
up
to
the
test whether our
momentum.
beliefs are worth holding.
Relay deployed. It ain't cheap.
I actually love talking to people to understand where's the middle.
You're welcome.
How much am I in the right on, and how much am I wrong on, and which side is more favorable for me to lean on, basically on which side I believe is holding the most. Not every situation is black or white. I love talking to legislators.
Here are some concrete practices that can serve as a daily resistance.
It's one of the other reasons why I went from
That's me.
pro-choice to pro-life.
Your powers are mine.
You are nothing!
And that was very pro-choice for a long time. I became pro-life.
Don't mind me. I'm just dying.
Against
Don't let
intellectual
anything stand in your way.
First, practice intellectual friction. Set aside time each week to read thoughtful arguments from people who disagree with you, not to change your mind necessarily, but to test whether your convictions can withstand scrutiny.
You're welcome.
Second, embrace productive ignorance. When you find yourself absolutely certain about something, ask what evidence would change your mind. If you can't think of any,
Us against the world!
Third, slow down your sharing. Before posting anything online, take 60 seconds to verify it from an independent
You're
source.
ready for X.
That brief pause can
You know what's crazy? I
This is your
did
big
this
chance.
with a conversation with MTash, and and then I was being called a gaslighter. I literally said these phrases verbatim. What could I say to get you to change your mind?
I am
He called me a
finished!
gaslighter.
See, I'm fucking
Because
out.
that's how much in his own ways he was. He said if I was attempting to change his mind, it was because I was manipulating. No, brother. It's called having an adult conversation about two
More bad guys. Just I'll patch
so
you up.
stupid. I got so much shit for like 9 months.
Break the
What
algorithm.
evidence would you accept? None.
Team player. That's me.
Shut the fuck up.
Algorithmic cycle that feeds on our emotional reactions. Finally, practice saying, I don't know, when you actually don't know something.
Dude, I will admit, I say I don't know all the time if you've ever seen Steak and Eggs. Because
Behold the god of thunder!
This is real firepower. You're ready for
Maximum pulse!
I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't like talking about what I don't fully know what I'm talking about. Dude, society has conditioned you to lie and say that you do know things that you don't know, otherwise you will be mine. By the way, World War II was in 1939 to 1945. Been hearing about that for 3 years. And by the way, Dark Souls 2 is not trash. It's a great game.
In a world that rewards confident ignorance over humble uncertainty, admitting gaps in your knowledge becomes a radical act. But individual practices aren't enough. We also need structural changes that make intellectual honesty easier and more rewarding. This means requiring social media platforms to disclose their algorithmic biases and how they curate content. It means funding comprehensive public media literacy campaigns that teach people how to evaluate sources and evidence.
I think this is great. This is a
It
great
means
video.
designing online platforms that reward intellectual humility over tribal certainty. Most importantly, we need economic policies that reduce the stress and uncertainty that make people vulnerable to intellectual shortcuts. When people aren't constantly worried about healthcare, housing, and employment, they have more mental bandwidth for careful thinking about complex issues. Bonhoeffer's theory was
You'll need a
brilliant for its time,
top-notch team to win
but here's
this
what he
one.
couldn't have known. This isn't just about moral surrender or social pressure. Modern neuroscience reveals something far more unsettling. Our brains are literally wired to fall into functional stupidity. Think about it. Bonhoeffer witnessed Nazi
Jesus.
propaganda spreading through newspapers and radio broadcasts, but we're living through something exponentially more dangerous. We've gone from Nazi propaganda to social media algorithms that know exactly which psychological buttons to push. And now, we're entering the age of AI deepfakes that can fabricate reality itself. The threat isn't just escalating, it's targeting the very architecture of human cognition. This isn't just about Nazis or propaganda, it's about the wiring of your brain. Our minds evolved to prioritize.
Genuinely, AI is about to put
Get ready.
OnlyFans industry like completely out of business. Legit, one photo of a man or woman, and you can pretty much do anything you want with them. Dude,
My
OnlyFans
magic
is
is a
fucking
far
over.
cry from the
Movies is
fury of
fucking
the
over.
phoenix.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, even streaming, streaming's gonna be over very soon. Right? All you need is one image
Then
of one
maybe
person.
that's
Yeah,
how you
AI
and
has
I
to
should go into
I'm
the
gonna do
battle
my
starts in
best to
5,
not get replaced by
4,
AI by
3,
working with AI.
2,
Don't have to be
I will be the person who creates AI. And I will be running that
Help
shit
get that
24/7.
vehicle to its destination.
Prioritize speed over accuracy, to trust familiar sources over unfamiliar ones, and to seek information that confirms what we already believe. These were survival features that helped our ancestors make quick decisions when hesitation meant death. The scariest part? We're all vulnerable, no matter how smart we think we are. The mechanism is exactly what Bonhoeffer described. When people feel threatened and uncertain, they become more susceptible to authoritative-sounding explanations that reduce complexity to simple narratives. But here's the crucial insight that makes Bonhoeffer's warning more urgent than ever. We're not just dealing with human manipulation anymore. We're facing systems designed by artificial intelligence to exploit our cognitive vulnerability with surgical precision. Every click, every pause, every emotional reaction is being analyzed and weaponized against our capacity for independent thought. We saw this play out in real time with COVID-19. Doctors and lawyers, people with demonstrated analytical abilities, began sharing debunked theories about vaccines and treatments. These weren't failures of intelligence. They were failures of intellectual independence under unprecedented pressure.
Quantum magic.
I think it really sucks that I went together when vaccines coming out, because I feel like everybody should know, hey, this new disease that just spawned 2 weeks ago, they already have a vaccine. I have never felt
I need healing.
I wish I might return at that time that wasn't
Pep in my step.
Pure cosmic energy.
so jealous of you. Now, other values,
Double kill!
others boilerplate values. Right. They've been developed over decades. Right? Is not far from here.
Acting with the spider tracer. Quantum magic.
Bonhoeffer paid the ultimate price for refusing to surrender his intellectual independence. He was executed by hanging on April 9th, 1945, just a week before Germany surrendered. His last words, according to a fellow prisoner, were, "This is the end. For me, the beginning of life." His sacrifice wasn't just about political resistance, it was about defending the very possibility of human thought. He understood that when people stop thinking independently, they stop being fully human. They become, in his words, puppets, whose strings are pulled by whatever force happens to be strongest at the moment. But here's what makes Bonhoeffer's final challenge so relevant today. The pressure to conform is overwhelming. When thinking independently will find perfect
Born again!
higher than the price of comfortable life. You stand for the price of truth, and the cost of truth is higher than the price of comfortable lies.
Oh, trust me, man. I look
Almost
forward
there.
to
Don't turn
making
that
the
down.
internet realize that so many of us
Quantum magic.
put some pep in my step, as well as I look forward
Vehicle
to
reached
that
the
day.
checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
It is gonna be real sad.
Who stands fast? The answer isn't found in superior intelligence or education. It's found in the daily choice to remain curious rather than certain, to seek truth rather than comfort, to think carefully rather than react.
better already.
These aren't heroic acts. They're ordinary practices that become extraordinary when everyone around you has stopped doing them. The tragedy is that intellectual surrender often feels like liberation. It's hard work, but uncomfortable to hold complex, contradictory ideas in your mind simultaneously. It's painful to admit you might be wrong about something important. The price of remaining human. In a world that profits from our intellectual surrender, choosing to think for ourselves becomes a radical act.
How many videos do you see of me having a pirate software attack?
Tremble before fast!
I am at your service.
The pirate software wasn't mine. He talked about tremendously on a lot of things. Also a big in a lot of
Healing power.
I could have just said pirate
Get
software
that
had
vehicle moving again.
Cosmic might return.
right, but I was like, well, no, he's actually fine for this.
We must get to the world tree at once.
This guy did one thing bad. Now everything else they did in their entire life is bad. That's not how it works. You don't need to make up a reason for someone to be bad. They're probably not bad. If the truth isn't enough to make them bad, maybe observe that. But just because one person did, like for example, even though Hassan is a horrific piece of shit by saying that Buki's a rich
Cosmos heals. Pure cosmic energy.
That doesn't mean that Hassan playing video games is a bad thing.
These
What
could be
shows
treacherous
Hassan
territory.
cares about it. But just say these are the bad things. This is why they're
You're
bad
halfway
because of
there.
these
Keep
good things.
going.
And then just say the other things are good.
Healing power.
Overwhelmingly
I feel
outweigh
better
the
already.
positive, right? That's just how it works.
Extermination!
To perhaps the most uncomfortable truth of all. We're all susceptible to partial stupidity. The moment we think we're new, we've already become
Born again!
Healing power.
1,000 gods!
Get that vehicle moving again.
Right? He's only had a couple of bad takes. I think Dark Souls 2 was a bad game. Fuck you for that. It's a great game.
Recover.
Probably gonna beat that today. Well, I have a massage at 2 o'clock, so we'll see.
begun to succumb. The price of intellectual freedom is eternal vigilance, not against external enemies, but against our own tendency to stop thinking
This is a
when
nice
thinking becomes
spot.
difficult. Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity is unsettling precisely because it's so accurate. We see it everywhere. Intelligent people believing obviously false things, educated individuals making catastrophically bad decisions, well-meaning citizens supporting policies that contradict their own values. The problem isn't that people are getting less intelligent, it's that our systems increasingly reward intellectual shortcuts over careful thinking. But within this sobering diagnosis lies genuine hope. If stupidity is partly chosen, it can also be rejected. If it's partly structural, structures can be changed. If it's the result of cognitive overwhelm, we can create conditions that make thinking easier rather than harder. Think of critical thinking as physical exercise.
I want to be called out.
Getting late.
I'm going to admit that I was wrong. Tell me the stupidest shit I've ever
This
said.
place
Jack.
is
You
worth
guys
a good
got
look.
it. Some of the worst takes I've ever had. I'm going to double down on the ones I still believe in, and I'm going to surrender the ones that I don't actually believe in.
Over here.
Jack, I'll tell you that. No,
Only 60 seconds left.
It just works good.
Plasma?
I still stand by that author had no idea how to Spoon, I do believe that spoons are good to have.
Now I see them.
Console is a good game. It is a good XQC's overrated. I said that because of
Just as we wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training, we can't expect to navigate complex information without practicing intellectual discipline. The mental muscles required for independent thought need regular use, or they atrophy. The next time you find yourself absolutely certain about something, the next time you find yourself dismissing contradictory evidence without consideration, the next time you feel the comfort of having all the answers, remember Bonhoeffer's warning. Emotional stability takes chances. And because you already have everything you need. In that moment of recognition, you have a choice. Will you surrender your mind for the comfort of certainty, or will you choose the more difficult path of intellectual independence? The question Bonhoeffer leaves us with isn't whether we're smart enough to avoid stupidity. It's whether we're committed enough to keep thinking when thinking becomes inconvenient, uncomfortable, or costly. And that's the profit from our intellectual surrender. It's one of the most important things we can do.
Now I think that
Here's my
we've
challenge to
reached
you.
a checkpoint.
This week,
Keep up the
find
momentum.
one belief you hold strongly and spend 30 minutes researching the best arguments against it. Not to torture yourself, not to become paralyzed by doubt.
I literally did this
We push all the way to Yggdrasil.
I asked John, why do people use this? Because I was like, what if I'm wrong? Last minute here, I said the same thing. And I Googled, is Hassan actually a bad guy? I actually researched those. I did the whole thing.
To practice the kind of intellectual courage Bonhoeffer died defending. If your belief survives honest scrutiny, hold it more confidently. If it doesn't, you will learn something valuable about the difference between
An extra
conviction
force
and
field?
truth.
Great.
The future of human dignity might just depend on how we collectively answer Bonhoeffer's challenge. If this video has made you question something you thought you knew for certain, that's not a weakness. It's the beginning of intellectual courage. Share this video with someone who isn't afraid to think deeply, even when it's uncomfortable. Because in a world designed to profit from our intellectual surrender,
Only
the
60
simple act of
seconds left.
thinking differently becomes the most important form of resistance we have. And here's what I want you to remember. Every time you choose curiosity over certainty, evidence over emotion,
The god of thunder!
you're not just protecting your own mind. You're defending the very possibility of human wisdom in an age of artificial stupidity. What's one belief you're willing to question this week? Let me know in the comments. And let's commit to being the kind of people who stand fast when everyone else is thinking.
Get that vehicle moving again.
I love video. That was
There is only one sorcerer supreme.
after having
The final 10 seconds.
say, I actually
A shortcut for space.
because I do question and I think that's the reason.
There, the sniper.
You'll have to keep fighting. Plasma?
This is why these people are going to lose. It's because they view other people flying the flag of the country that they live in as being a problem.
This is a very real thing. It's the same thing with
1,000 guns!
in my mind now, in America, other flags and they're all being
A man rarely survives.
Guys, I'll be real. I put this flag up in my room because I knew it was going to be so, and it did.
I am strength.
So you know what I'm going to do even more so? I'm getting the American flag tattooed on my fucking wall. Because these people have lost their fucking mind. And they've lost the plot. American pride is no longer allowed. You you have to support other countries more than you support yourself. And let's just be real, guys. Even the Mr. Beast challenges, he's raising money for Africa. Right, he's raising money for Africa over the United fucking States where we all live. And guys, I'm sorry to say, we've raised $2.6 trillion for Africa. It still looks the fucking same. So how about we focus on what country that we fucking live in before we treat other countries better than we treat ourselves?
I'm sorry, but that's a really, really, really bad principle to stand behind. It's not. It's not a good one.
Pick your
Here we
hero.
go.
Or villain.
Operation
I'm not
Raise
judging.
the Colours.
Don't
I'm sure
have
you've
to be
seen
a
it by now,
witch
but
to
the
find
English
the
flag,
magic
or in
in
some
this
cases the
world.
Union flag,
But it
is
does
being
help.
flown on streets up and down the country, absolutely everywhere. And it is a beautiful
I
sight.
cannot fucking believe we are
I will say, the flag does look badass. It reminds me of the Scarlet Crusade tavern from World of Warcraft.
actually having this V for Vendetta shit happen right now. This is insane.
To behold. In fact, I think this is nothing short of a genius tactical rebellion by the English people, but not everything is so rosy. Because some of the people...
Okay, so
Never
random
stop
question.
fighting
So do
for what
English
I
people
believe
not
is right.
have like houses?
30
Or
seconds
like
before
why
you
is
attack.
every video
Get
like
ready.
some British man walking through a fucking field talking to his camera? Like I'm so
More.
confused here.
putting
Someday I'd
flags
like
up
to
in the
see
street
Comic-Con.
and now
Yep.
being seriously attacked.
What a surprise.
Yeah, let's talk about it. If you're Italian or American or Polish, you probably look at this and think, so what? Everywhere I go in Poland or Italy or America, I see my own country's flag.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
He doesn't know.
3, 2, 1.
We have the
All you
same
need to do
problem
is
with
capture the mission area. Got it?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, we got the same issue.
No big deal. Except it is a big deal in England. Because in England, we don't fly our flag. We've been told, in fact, not even told, we've been gaslit for decades into thinking that we should be ashamed of our own flag, of our own history, of our own heritage, of our own...
Hey, UK frogs, is that true? I've never been to UK. I don't feel like getting stabbed, but honestly,
Looks like the
you know,
mission
my
area is
people are
yours
as
to
fucked
capture
up as
now.
it is. I don't see a reason for that. You can't fly your own flag. That's crazy. I remember there was a story of public schools taking down the American flag and then a year later putting gay rights. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, you really don't see, especially in Austin, Texas. In Austin, Texas, you don't really see that many American flags. You see like a lot of like trans rights, protect trans kids. Like there's places like San Antonio, and they still do prayer in the restaurants that you go eat at. There's American flags everywhere. So it really does depend on the city of which you live in the United States.
Allow a foreigner
I
to
won't
come
make
over
the
to
same
your country.
mistakes again.
That's a lie. I live in Austin, Texas. Did you just tell me that I'm wrong about the own city that I live in? Brother, I live in.
Tell you that you should be ashamed for your
Oh, you
name.
were Canadian? No. Born in fucking Oklahoma, bro. North Carolina.
Nation's flag. What a it is amazing that people let this happen. I see the country's flag going out. As I said, if you want to tell us the protests in America, if there's a bunch of random identity flags flying around, then it's probably in America.
It'd be a good stream, man. Go around town and see like, go into random stores and try and find an American flag. I really, off the top of my head, I can honestly say I do not remember the last time I've seen an American flag in a building. The last time I saw an American flag was in the military. Or like, but also like a military base with like an American flag. Or like in a military adjacent to like a gun store. Also the American flag. Starbucks, Burger King, McDonald's. What, maybe Cracker Barrel? Maybe Cracker Barrel? But yeah, it used to be in Walmart when I was living in Woodstock. But I don't see it in Woodstock either.
Culture. If you don't believe me, take a listen to this.
Alright, go off the flag.
Judge, jury, executioner!
They decided to co-opt being patriotic. This is a huge problem for us. Defending completely and
That was one of the examples.
Those are the flags that flew on the ship, which enslaved my ancestors. Those are the flags which Army marched in places like India.
By the way,
So it begins.
whenever they went over there
Goodbye.
and the ancestors that your ancestors were fighting against
Should help me heal.
ended up beating your ancestors, and then they sold your ancestors to the people that showed up with those flags. Important distinction here, okay? It's not like they just showed up with a bunch of lassos and nets and said, all right, let's catch them all. You got sold into slavery. Why did you have sold into slavery? By other people in those countries after losing wars and conflicts.
Those same people that guilty of being slave owners.
Just what I need.
Because it was white people who freed black people from slavery. Like what? On the risk of embarrassing myself, I'm not going to give an exact date because we all remember when I tried to give the exact date for World War II. There's way too many black people going after
I
white
have
people
made
for
my
slavery.
share of
White people were the
mistakes,
ones who fought for the
but I am
freedom
fighting
of
every
slavery.
day to make amends.
Yeah, they sold you out.
Pakistan, big rule. Africa and colonized 25% of the world. The
30
reason the far
seconds
right
before
picks
you
up these
attack.
flags
Get
and has
ready.
consistently, since the 60s, 70s, since my parents' generation have been in this country, is because these flags represent the racism which they are putting out into the world.
Oh
I
my
wish I
God.
could say the
That's
same.
right.
I really don't think that waving your own country's flag represents being racist. Like, this is how low the
Thank you
bar
for the
is for
invite,
anybody to
but I
be
think
considered a
I will
far-right
pass.
extremist, where if you have pride of the country that you're born from,
The battle
you're
starts in
racist.
5,
But here's the other thing
4,
I don't get.
3,
Why do people
2,
come into
1.
America and wave the Mexican
All you need
flag?
to do is capture the
Right?
mission area.
Why do they come
Got
in
it?
into America and wave their country's flag? Bro, if they like that country so much, if it's so goated, then go live there. It's so irritating. And then you wave the United States flag as an American citizen, and then you get called a white supremacist.
That's right. Here's the problem that I think this guy's going to run into.
And it's crazy. I always ask, so what's so great about your country? The food. I'm sorry, guys. Like I've had like authentic Mexican food. Tex-Mex is better. And I'm just saying, right? Like Japan probably has some good sushi, right? But like LA sushi is also pretty damn good. I think America's amazing because you get like it's like a taste test of every other country on the earth. It really is. It's nice.
Capture the mission area.
Is that people are so fed up.
Elbow.
They
Oh
are
well.
so tired
Be mad.
that they're going to start agreeing with you.
Yeah.
And you better be worried when that starts happening.
Name one American food. Hamburger. Steak. Is German? Nope. Well, this is the American version.
That's better.
Right? I don't know why it tastes better because we're not. I don't eat that Nazi hamburger bullshit. I eat good old freedom burgers. Okay? Freedom fries.
It's so boring. We get it. You don't like the English flag. You don't like English history, and it's not much of a leap to
Exactly. Like they don't
won't
like the
make the
history
same
of their
mistakes
country.
again.
As if any country in the world has like a pristine history where it's never did anything wrong. You think China's never done anything wrong? Russia
Oh man.
Their team's capture progress
has
has
never done
passed the
anything wrong.
halfway
The
point.
United States has never done anything wrong. Like any of
These
the
are over.
Hey guys, do you want to know how we found out what percentage of the human body is made of water, guys? Why don't you Google how the Japanese figured it out? I know. Man, very kawaii. Back in the day.
never done anything wrong. These people want to demoralize the I guess the British people here by making them feel like there's a generational guilt that they have to undergo in order to talk about their own country.
The ideology that you are telling ancestors of my family has nothing to do with the most I will not be judging for the actions of other people of my race. I am my own person. The moment that we start judging people en masse, blanket stating everything with a common of their skin color is this, is the moment we
Well,
decide.
you can't expect to win them all.
The moment that we start killing them for who they are related to is when we descend into madness. I will not be taking part in that.
What did Sweden do wrong? I don't know. Didn't they just like go fucking attack a bunch of different random places in Europe? Are you saying wrong was done? Yeah, of course slavery was wrong. That's why we got rid of it. And you know what's pretty funny? Is a lot of the countries that, you know, in Africa, they still have slavery.
I know a lot of the black-heavy countries really started abolishing it around 2007. It might still exist. I think a minority. I don't think it exists a lot. No, I know it exists somewhat. It's still
You'll
pretty
need a
big.
top-notch
I know
team
they were
to win
trying
this
to
one.
abolish it since 2007, but I guess it's still going stronger than I thought.
You
Damn.
don't have to be a
More
witch to
slaves
find the
now than
magic
ever
in
in
this
history.
world. But
That's
it does
insane.
help.
15 million people are affected by modern slavery worldwide, with forced labor generating $236 billion in illegal profits annually. Oh my God. More cohesive data sharing strategies and leveraging the technology can help detect patterns and protect victims of human trafficking. Damn, that actually is way worse than I thought.
We don't have slavery here anymore in Europe and in America. It's gone. So you want to find
Yet we're still hearing about it every day.
Don't have to be a
actual
witch to
slavery, go
find the
back there.
magic in this
They
world.
still have it.
But it does help.
That's the difference.
True.
Don't have 30 seconds before
But
you
you
attack.
also don't
Get
like
ready.
the English people. And that is the tactically genius
To
part.
be fair, America still has 9 to 5.
The multiverse offers
Well,
endless
let's be real, guys.
possibilities.
Hey, I'm just telling you how it is.
Survives
If you're
this
working
world.
minimum wage and living in a 200 square foot bachelor apartment, first of all, that's not an apartment you have, that's a cage. And that's not a job you have, you're a slave.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
Have
3,
fun working for the rest of
2,
your life like that. It is miserable.
All you need to do is
How would you
capture
live
the
that
mission
life?
area.
L-Tech,
Got it?
incorrect tech. Anyway.
Because it's forced people like Hide.
I want to make it very clear. I don't fault the fact that America has that
Not
bad.
going anywhere.
Inflation is out of control. I believe like back in the 1950s, like 62% of people were homeowners, and now it's like less than 7%. Like it's so bad.
Everybody did slavery. Everybody enslaved
who's next?
everybody. This happened constantly. White people do not have a monopoly on slavery. Muslims don't have a monopoly on slavery. Black people don't have a monopoly on slavery, and neither do Asians. We all did it. I mean, it's a pretty simple, like, I mean, if you're like a caveman, the idea of getting another guy to work for you, and if he doesn't work for you, you're going to hit him in the head with a stick. Like, this is a pretty easy idea to come to, right? I mean, it'd be easy for you to come to this conclusion. So, everybody did
My
it.
fate isn't sealed yet.
What vile creatures Namor has summoned?
Quiet part out loud. They really don't
Be
like us.
stronger on
And this
it.
shouldn't surprise anyone. Kahinde Andrews wrote a book called The Citation of Whiteness. And then he had...
Oh, God.
First of all, you go on live TV and lecture us all about racism. Imagine if I'd written a book called The Psychosis of Blackness.
Anything negative about white people, you don't say anything negative about Indians. If you say anything bad about black people, your life is over. And that's just true. You guys need to understand, a lot of your life, you're talking about white privilege. We're also talking about black privilege. Especially on the internet. Let's be real. Almost every top creator everyone has their privileges. Let's not just focus on one. Let's talk about the whole scenario.
Our flag, people that leave, because nobody will miss you. I mentioned at the start of this video that it looks like some of the guys putting Dagger are now being attacked whilst they do it. A few nights ago in York, the police were called for an altercation between some allegedly Pakistani men and some English guys who were flagging their local area. Now, I don't know the full details of that story, but it just doesn't really surprise me. And then last night, apparently one...
Where? Not my problem. You don't want it, you don't like it here, get the fuck out.
Yep.
Like, it's not my problem. If you want to sit here and complain constantly,
There is no way any immigrant should be allowed to complain about the country they chose to move to. Like, then go somewhere else. It's like really bad. It's like watching a motherfucker go into the Burger King and say, oh, this shit sucks. Like, where's the McDouble? Where's the
Rise, my friend!
You just came from McDonald's. If you want McDonald's, then go to McDonald's. Why don't you come to Burger King and think about McDonald's? Like, what are we doing here?
and act like the country that you're living in has a generational guilt, then go back to where your original country is. Like, it's simple. It's not my problem.
Every country on this earth has committed a atrocity. What a person would state to be an atrocity. There is no uniquely clean reputation for any country.
One guy had a petrol bomb thrown at him whilst he was in his car.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
It's hard to say, like, if I see a video like this, it's hard really for me to have an opinion on it because I only see, like, the aftermath. It's hard to know what happened leading up to this.
Petrol bomb. Move the car, bro.
Get that
Clear
beast
flag, not
moving
petrol
again!
bomb.
Yeah.
These beasts must belong to me.
Well, because they want
Born again!
A disappearing.
Hey!
you would expecting the police to, like, you know, go beyond your side. Like, as long as they're investigating it, like, the police don't want to get politicized in that way.
Sure.
It's fair.
Out! That's filthy!
Name has summoned his servants.
Police are in a really hard spot right now because any type of mishandling of the 1% that ripple effects and cascade
Born again!
on the top of it. All cops are bastards. And that can majorly good experiences every police officer I've ever interacted with. Maybe like one bad
won't
guy
make
who like speed trapped me down
Be
the
right
road.
back.
That's pretty much it. Like, maybe it's because I'm white. But still, to say that all cops are bastards is
Do not hesitate, Master Trace. Destiny awaits.
They can't, yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is we need cops to survive in society. Every now and then there will be bad eggs. You say that all were bad is insane.
Let's try that again. So I'll show you that clip just because I know that even though the guy did get a little bit hurt, he's in the care of the police and paramedics, so he's going to be completely fine. Like, he's going to make a full recovery. No.
Born again!
Around here. If you're going to go out back in your local area, go with friends. Don't just be an easy target for people who want to give you trouble, who want to give you trouble.
The god of thunder!
Towards the end of it, police officer says, oh, we're impartial. Yeah, but you're not, are you? Because I've seen footage of you actively trying to stop people putting these flags up.
Now, a disappearing.
You get away with it. You get away with it. You get away.
This is such a bad look.
Put some pep in my step.
That the police are trying to stop people from
Fight
flying
for the good
flag
guys
of the
next
country.
time.
This is going to backfire
Reborn
so
from
bad.
the chaos.
Wait, what the fuck?
Oh man,
Be right back.
they outlawed
The
knives.
police
Yeah,
were preventing people from waving the
police is
the
carrying
UK
yeah.
flag.
Now, a disappearing.
Why is this being treated as if it's like some unlawful crime?
Like a dog with little elder guard.
The powers of light!
Rise, my friend.
Everything that's happening in Britain at the moment is really fascinating. And what you see here is a police officer trying to stop a guy who's exposed, who can easily be identified from
Police officers just don't want to get reported on like some political thing and then like have that be used. I mean, again, like I'm not like they're just functionaries, right? They're functionaries and they're doing what they're told in a lot of cases. Like the individual officers that are showing up to these cases aren't the ones that are making these decisions.
and the guy says, no, I'm still going to do it. That's a real sign of psychological defiance.
pep in my
People
step.
really learn something about the mood of the country, or at least large groups of the
This is
country.
insane after COVID mandates
work
and
here is not
vaccines
done.
too. People are no longer going to behave after what happened. Exactly. No, I think that COVID was a massive breach of trust between the government and the people, and you're seeing that be manifested everywhere.
How
I
is
think
that
this is
for a
one
trick,
example of it
Loki?
right here.
By looking
That's
at these
it.
localized incidents. To me, that's really interesting. Maybe to you, that's really boring. Maybe that's one tiny little event that happened in the middle of nowhere. I find it. Anyway, enough armchair psychology. Let's check in with the BBC.
I found more to put up with any of this bullshit.
For my spell.
She She died 103 years ago. This has been going on for 30 years.
After Jay left Jordan.
And look at how
Yeah, but the problem is, Asmongold is forgetting that people think that anybody who's dead is like a holier than thou life. Brad Jr. on the other side.
I won't
oh man,
make
if
the
this
same
person was
mistake.
still
Get that
alive, this
evil
would have
moving
never
again.
happened. Too many people think that way. They give so many people like passes for like committing atrocities just because they're dead.
they're coping with all this. Roundabouts vandalized, look like St. George's flags. Okay. Meanwhile, rainbow zebra crossings appear in resorts.
Jesus. Zebra.
Only 60 seconds left.
Jesus. That's crazy.
Born again! My face!
Wow.
I saw one of these on a beach in Jersey once.
That's pretty bad, isn't it?
Now look, I understand that there's the same difference between these two events.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Rainbow zebra crossings were no doubt approved by the
That is
council.
crazy. That is
Whereas
crazy. All
mess
flag
with the
vandalized.
amazing
They're
Spider-Man!
trying to just
Our time is short.
Same news
Finish.
headline.
I'm opening a
Same
portal.
BBC. That's crazy.
proud Englishmen
Holy fuck.
painting the
That's
flag of St. George
crazy.
on the roundabout, that was not
A
approved.
shortcut through space.
Probably not. Then ask yourself why, and you can see the reason
Get
why
that
they're
evil
doing it
moving
like
again.
this.
The final 10 seconds.
Ultimately, they are the exact same action, but the BBC has chosen to criminalise the Englishmen using their language and their words. They could have just as easily
Keep fighting
written
until we have a
English
winner.
flag painted on
Yeah,
roundabout,
sure.
but they chose not to. And so you can just get a
Your
sense
powers are
through the
mine!
language that they hold contempt for the English
you
flag
can't expect
and
to
the
win them
English
all.
people. While technically what they're saying by the letter of the law is probably true, it's ultimately a completely harmless act.
Well, it's also the thing is that I mean vandalism isn't necessarily good, but the issue is that these permits are being given out for these identity groups and for
Nobody's thinking that vandalism is good, but the problem is that one thing is allowed to be vandalized and the other one isn't. It just makes no sense.
these minority groups. But let me ask you the question. If the people that wanted to paint the roundabout like St. George's flag or have a, commemoration of the flag there, do you think that that would have been approved by the city council? Do you think that would have happened? No. It's because they've become occupied by people that are weaponizing their laws and their rules against them.
We know that, right? It's not going to
You'll
do any
need a
damage. It's not going to
top-notch
stop
team to
anyone
win
going
this
around
one.
the roundabout, is it? Of course it isn't. Let's put this all into a little bit of perspective because, yes, right now people are
You
flying
don't
the
have
flag
to
of
be a
St. George
witch
up
to
and down the
find the
country.
magic in this
But for a
world.
very long
But it
time,
does
people have been
help.
flying a different flag across England. The Palestinian flag. And when I talk about this, I'm not
Right.
making a point about Israel or Palestine because I actually don't care. I'm an Englishman, this is England, and Israel and Palestine are not in England. I don't care. My point is about the flags and the response that the
By the way, I know there's a lot of terminally online people,
I have made my share of
but this
mistakes.
is the way the majority of
Don't
people
have to
feel.
be a witch to find the magic in
That's
this
the
world.
truth.
But it does help.
They don't want to be involved with a
30
conflict in the
seconds
Middle
before
East.
you attack.
Yep.
Get ready.
These
It's the worst thing when people think that what Twitter says is a reality. Listen, guys, I know on Twitter a lot of people might convince you that we really need real artists, but like the reality is that 99.9% of artists fucking suck. They do. The everyman has a very hard time getting connected with a proper artist.
The battle
because they're
starts
all
in
artists
5,
who make some great work.
4,
But
3,
the majority of
2,
jobs
1.
that can be handled for the needed craft design
Sure, those are bad
can be
guys.
handled very easily with a command prompt.
I am no soldier. I'm simply a man who's
Don't get that vehicle to its
The
destination.
normal person who doesn't care
Who will
is their sweat or their cosmic might. The normal person doesn't care if Napa has unsafe work conditions, only work for employees, maybe the government. The normal person just cares about getting the service they want as cheaply as they can do it, as quickly as possible. It is convenient as ever. Healing out. There's a lot of issues that Twitter has convinced you are the overwhelming opportunity. You have to understand that Twitter opinions are Twitter. If you want real opinions, talk to your grandparents or go to Walmart at 3 a.m. and just feel like the right person, like they're dating your sister.
I am at your service.
and how those
Far better than that, leader.
They did nothing. They made no effort to intervene. They didn't take any of the flags down. Absolutely nothing. In fact, it's worse.
This is what creates civil unrest and vigilante justice. Is that when, let's say, for example, these people are doing this and nothing happens.
Oh, what I forgot, Walmart isn't open at 3 a.m. anymore because COVID ruined the entire the world is no longer quantum at 6 a.m.
Happens to them whenever they're flying out these foreign flags, but whenever you're flying the nation's flags, you get in trouble. Well, there you go.
One guy made a video complaining that his entire street was plastered with these Palestinian flags, and the police came to his house and arrested him at 4 o'clock in the morning. Not even joking. Here is the video. Come on, what's going on? Let's just explain what's going on.
It's crazy the level of entitlement that these people have that they can enter into a completely foreign country and start flying their own flags of some other foreign country. Oh my god.
It's insane.
Can you believe that?
Like I said, that video had the guy arrested at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I think the mood of the country and in fact the mood of the country has changed since then. And the reason it's changed is
Judge, jury, executioner!
Don't give a fuck about what's happening in other countries because it doesn't fucking affect us. So don't come to these other places
Born again!
You know, the issues that you agree don't affect us and expect us to care because
because the English people start to stand up for themselves. They start to say no more, or we just be bullied and thrown around at will, okay? We're gonna...
Just like this, it doesn't concern us. Well, the thing about this issue is, guys, is that it's a very appropriate parallel to what we're experiencing in the United States. This is about what this video represents. The ideology this video represents, the parallelism.
I start fighting for...
Put everybody that was okay with this in jail. That's what I would do. It's because these people have actively tried, they've effectively committed treason.
I have risen.
They've sided with foreign powers, foreign interests, and foreign countries over their own, and I would put all of them in jail.
Get that vehicle moving again!
It has been an ongoing insurrection for seemingly 20 years. That's the definition of the Beijing force? Yeah, of course. This is what the CCP Act, the rest of it is different.
You are safe now, my friend.
We already have a lot of
Oh, but like, what about this other thing? That doesn't work on me. It doesn't work.
Time to put up a show. Judge, jury, executioner!
Because we're finally showing a bit of goddamn strength. This is England. We are England. If we want to fly our flag, we have every right to do so. Now, some people would want to say that this is an insignificant thing, but I really don't think it is. As I said at the start of this video,
Why you become bigger over time? I think that's what happens. Things like this start small and then they become bigger.
I think it's really clever. It's forced our opponents to make a whole bunch of errors. The first style of error that we saw with Kahinde Andrews is when people have to come out and say, I don't like you, I don't like your history, I don't like your culture, I don't like your flag. Okay, so now they're just exposed, and we look at that and we go, okay, well at least I know what you don't like, and it's me, so I guess I also don't like you back. The other style of error is the one that Keir Starmer has made, because Keir Starmer has had to come out and say, oh, I support this. I like seeing the flag of St. George flying.
Who backs the flying of the flag?
Yeah, if you don't care about